3.
I like beef cuts and I cannot lie. My little brother can't deny. When that waiter walks in with an itty-bitty steak and a mound of veggies on my plate, I get bummed. Want to dump that stuff. Because I don't want none unless there's more meat, hun. Sorry, I get a little carried away. I don't mean to be pushy, but I really am passionate about my fondness for meat. Now, you might be thinking, a Nebraska farm girl who likes beef. That's unusual. But in my case, it's not the obvious conclusion. I was forced to explore the alternative. No meat and all vegetables. And believe me, after my research and experience, I'm here to proudly support all you beef and pork eaters out there. First, I will share with you a little background about my foundation as a meat lover. How, rather suddenly, I became a little skeptical about consuming animal protein and was forced to explore the alternative. Next, I will describe how, reluctantly, I made an effort to remove meat from my diet and replace it with something else. The logical choice? Vegetables. And finally, I will share with you how my short, very short experience as a vegetarian led me right back to where I started, as a passionate consumer of thick, red, juicy, marbled, delicious steak. I've grown up on a farm where my dad raises cattle, so it's no surprise that I was born and raised as a beef eater, and I mean serious beef eater. From an early age, I learned how to savor a nice juicy slab of beef, and even though I'm partial to beef, I'm not too picky. I love all kinds of meat. The only thing that could have made this any better was if it had been wrapped in bacon. And it doesn't just stop there. We like the wild stuff too. Nothing like deer sausage and jerky. Here's a photo after one of my dad's successful hunting trips. You can see my little brother who's really into it, and there I am in the background, looking forward to the jerky, but not quite as excited about the kill. To be honest, at the time, I was probably thinking, Bambi? Which brings me back to that skepticism I mentioned about eating animal protein. I tend to think of most animals as potential pets, so it won't surprise you to learn that I've been quite attached to the new little cabbies that were born on the farm each spring. I remember one in particular. I named him Buddy. Well, when it was time to say goodbye to Buddy in the fall, it was harder than usual. But I'd just been told that Buddy was heading off to meet up with his friends. So in my own mind, I pictured Buddy heading off to cow camp, and then to cattle college, and eventually off to graze his life away in a much greener and larger pasture somewhere else. So you can imagine my surprise when I finally figured out where Buddy was really headed. It never once occurred to me that cute little Buddy could someday show up on my plate. I felt guilty, depressed, betrayed. That was it. Out of respect for Buddy and all animals everywhere, I made the executive decision to stop eating meat. I knew this wouldn't be easy, because I love the taste of meat. And I can count on one hand the number of vegetables I can even tolerate, but I was determined. I took up my shovel, and while my dad hunted deer, I hunted these bad boys. I was especially proud of this catch. I insisted on hanging my trophy on the living room wall, right next to Dad's. I took my challenge seriously, proudly choosing salad and vegetables from the menu, while my family ordered the steak, and the burgers, and the chicken nuggets. I tried to be convincing. I'm really loving this asparagus, when all the time I was just hoping that it would get easier. I even took my crusade to the next level, joining a protest against the cruelty to animals. Now, here I am at the latest PETA meeting, where we... I don't know how that got there. Who am I kidding? So, I've relapsed. I'm sorry, but who can blame me? The truth is, eating vegetables is no more humane than eating animals. How, you may ask? Let me explain. My first clue came when we were at a restaurant, just casually looking over the menu. I myself was trying to find some kind of exotic vegetable to order, while my family ordered the steak and the burgers, but that's when I saw it, right there in black and white. Terrorized carrots. What? Terrorized carrots? What are they talking about? Carrots are one of those 5 vegetables that I can tolerate, and they're terrorized here? What do they do to the poor little guys? Lock them in a room with my little brother all day? I called that waiter over right away, and he said, "Oh, we just took a little guy," and they look down and flick him up in the nose. "Oh, ha ha ha, sure, just like Buddy was sent off to camp." I didn't believe it for a minute. I knew that those vegetables were thrown in a hot pan and smothered in pepper sauce. But then I got to thinking, have you ever thought about how we treat vegetables? I mean, we all know what happens to broccoli. And our friend the pumpkin. First, we cut him open and vigorously pull out all his insides, and then humiliate him by carving silly faces on him. And to top it all off, we finish him off by eating him in pie. Or worse yet, letting him sit on our sidewalk for the next 4 months. Oh, and we can't forget about poor Mr. Potato Head. He gets skinned, boiled, fried, and mashed. Well, talk about cruel and unusual punishment. Oh, you meat eaters have nothing on these vegetarians. So which is worse, eating the vegetables we grow or the animals we raise? Well, what a dilemma. I have to eat something. I can't cut everything from my diet. So it might as well be something I enjoy. Sure, the truth isn't always easy, but let's face it, animals and vegetables have a purpose. And I'm sorry, but part of it is to help us survive. And if I can accept that fact, then I can still eat meat. So I've shared with you my passion for meat and how my affection for animals made me quite skeptical about eating them. Next, I described my feeble attempt to replace meat with an all-vegetable diet, and we all know how that went. And finally, I shared with you what I learned about vegetable cruelty, which gave me just the excuse I needed to dump vegetables in favor of meat. Sure, I'll include vegetables in my diet too, but we all know where my real passion is. When they bring that tray of food, it's the meat where my eyes are blue. Don't want those veggie snacks they're making, I want the ones that are wrapped in bacon.